Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode. I suppose it's called an episode of FGS TV. See some familiar names there and see some new names. So, welcome to the new ones and welcome back to the old ones. See, we've got quite a number in Malta today. Where else have we got? Ukraine. Oh, New York. There we are. That's quite interesting. I just know it's New York, so I know who the person is, but they just says the States. And quite a number from the UK. So today's a different one. Usually I say waffle on. We don't waffle on. We talk about different things of the industry, what's going on with the industry, what's going on with trends, etc., etc. And this is an area of the industry which a lot of people might have heard about or don't even know it exists. So if you don't know it exists, you don't know the risks involved or how to even mitigate them. So this is going to be probably for me, the most interesting we've done over the period. So I'll introduce you first to Matthew. If you could just give yourself an introduction, Matthew, I'm sure you're capable of that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew Shabaras, the Director of Information Security at Betson Group. I basically all information security requirements, both governance and operational, is under my remit here at the company.
Yeah, and Betson are one of the biggest gaming firms.
It is one of the big five, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Matthew. Thanks for joining. Spencer?
I'm Spencer Cleary. I'm an investigator for Cisco under the Brand Protection Organisation. Been employed with Cisco for 23 years.
All right, thank you. And Del?
My name is Del Smith, and I'm Head of Engineering here at Alvarez & Marsal in the UK office, looking after anything to do with the Microsoft stack and anything that our endpoints look at, so security and all of the great stuff in Azure and the cloud space and data centers.
Right, okay. Well, thanks ever so much for joining us, Jen. Do appreciate it. Now, I really want to touch on, and usually I go into how we get on with, through the lockdown, but I think this is an important one. I really want to get straight into this. The brokerage market is what is known in the UK. In Malta, which we've obviously got a business, it's known as grey market. I don't think the term broker really exists in the terminology, the mindset in Malta. And so I'm going to come to you, Spencer, because it's clearly where your strong knowledge is. If you can give a definition of what we see as grey, broker, unauthorised equipment, it is from a Cisco point of view. But just quickly, before we Spencer answers, just to make everyone aware, this isn't a problem that Cisco have per se. This is a problem that IBM have, Lenovo have, HP have, HPE have, etc., etc., etc. It's not, Spencer's kindly come on today, he happens to be from Cisco, but it's not a problem that is Cisco specific. Spencer.
Sure. So you've already started actually on a very good point, and it's about terminology. In the UK, as you say, we call it the broker market, other places call it the grey market, other people call it the parallel market. But from a Cisco perspective, it's just an unauthorised market. But we call every unauthorised reseller a broker. So if I talk about a broker, it's anyone that is selling Cisco products that are not an authorised registered Cisco reseller. So it's the broker market. The issues with brokerage, for the most part, within the European Economic Area, I'll talk to that part first. It's free trade within the EEA. We know that there's no laws against buying and selling of any product. Excuse me. There are issues if the product has been first sold outside of the European Economic Area, or if the product is counterfeit or infringing, and I can talk about that if you wish. But it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem for customers because a lot of the time they don't know what they're buying. They're buying on price. And if they're buying on price, the cheapest price is typically always going to be from the brokers. So if a customer puts out a tender for 500 switches and it goes out to many different resellers, Cisco partners and brokers, it will be that broker that comes back with the cheapest price. And if the purchaser or the procurement manager decides, well, I'm going for the cheapest, and it is from a broker, by default, by default within the Cisco world, that is an unauthorized product. And that's important for customers to understand, because any unauthorized product is not eligible for any warranty or support from Cisco. So how big is it? It's huge. As long as it's within the parameters of the law, it's free to trade in Cisco products. But there's a lot of instances where it's not, and also we've got the problem with counterfeit that's out there as well.
Okay, so when you think when you say it's massive, I mean, just from my perspective, and I've been running a reseller since different resellers. I've gone through 2 before, which I've sold, and now have this one since 88, sorry. This, to me, if someone said to me, how big is this marketplace, with so many companies not being authorized to sell anyway, and so many authorized companies selling unauthorized, yeah, if I had a stab in the dark, but you're probably going to tell me I'm grossly wrong, I'd say 30% in the UK, 45% in Malta. Am I way out, Spencer?
Well, so the answer is we don't know what we don't know, right? So
right, okay.
we only find out about the cases that come to us where we've had information received, be that from a customer, a partner, or an inside Cisco account manager. It is big. It is big. I remember years ago there was some rough estimate of what the unauthorized Cisco products out there were, and it was something like 30%.
Right. Okay.
But that's global. But that was really just a finger in the air, and someone basing it on what we saw and understood. But it's probably at least that. It could be potentially more. The thing is, what you got to understand is, I work for Cisco, but not blowing our own trumpet, but Cisco products are very good and they last a long time. And and because of that, they get handed around once the next generation comes out. An organization might buy the next gen, and instead of returning that product to Cisco as trade-in, they could sell it out on the open market. So it is big, and I say it's a problem, because, as I say, the issues then become with the warranty and support. What people don't realize is that I think I've already said it. When we sell a product, it gets registered to the first end user. So let's say that first end user is yourself, FGS, right? You then have sole rights to the warranty and support on that product within the EA I'm referring to now, and it's similar around the world as well. But that can't be transferred. So if the new customer gets this second-hand piece of kit and they try and get warranty or support on it, they're very likely to be denied, especially as our tools get smarter and our agents start asking questions about, please provide your purchase invoice, etc., etc. So it's fine if you just want a cheap second-hand product that you're never gonna come to Cisco with. But once you start wanting to upgrade software and get warranty and support, it's not going to happen. And again, if you're going to upgrade software, you need to be sure you're going to buy a license for that software.
Yeah. We see, so that, to me, if you're talking about security, I'm talking now to Matthew and Dale and the people out there. If you're talking about security, availability is a major part of security.
Of course.
Yeah, availability is a huge part of it. Not just the confidentiality and integrity, it is the availability. Now, if you are not being supported by the manufacturer, you have got real risk of availability. You have an issue where you think you're covered under a 4+4 support agreement, and the manufacturer turns around and goes, nothing to do with me.
I would say it's not only availability. I don't think it's only availability. I mean, from basics and InfoSec, we have the CIA triad, right? And if you can't update your SmartNet, for example, because we're talking Cisco here, or you're not able to update the firmware, what about even if you're running IPS, for example? Are we able to update the signatures of the IPS? I mean, all these are risks which either the company has to mitigate in some sort of manner. And even if they can't, I mean, they will have no other choice but to accept these current risks. So yes, I think that it is obviously a problem in my mind.
Or a very costly replacement project.
Very costly and very fast.
Yeah.
But if you've got to buy something very fast, it has to be there next day. Tell you what often happens, back into the broker market because they're the only people who can supply like that. And so that's talking about, you say, it's not illegal. We have, as you're aware, Spencer, and that we're seeing some counterfeit equipment. So when we're saying counterfeit, here's what we say. And I'll ask Spencer if I've got this correct. The piece of equipment we found, and we've sent the video out, it's Cisco equipment. This was clearly manufactured by Cisco, but somebody's put a bit. What have they done, Spencer, with that unit, for example?
So there are two types of counterfeit of Cisco products. There's the pure counterfeit, and this is where none of that product at all has ever been in a Cisco manufacturing plant. Typically, they are the GBITs, the SFBs, the GLCs, but not always. Okay, that's pure counterfeit. They're just bought. They've got counterfeit labels that they stick on with cloned serial numbers, and they're put into their own plastic bags with fake Cisco labels, and they're sold. But they're counterfeit. But the issue you're referring to is what we call the counterfeit upgrade, and these boxes did start life once as a Cisco product, typically a low-end Cisco product. But for those that are aware of Cisco products, the low-end product is the same size and shape and feel as the high-end product. It's the internals that are potentially different: the motherboard, the IOS, the processing, etc., etc. So what these counterfeiters do is they buy these low-end products in large amounts, typically always in China. And what they do is they then take the lid off, and then they start manipulating certain parts of that chassis. They'll modify the motherboard, they'll reverse engineer software, they change coding to enable the serial number to be altered to give it a cloned genuine serial number of the product they want it to be. Then they put the lid on, stick their own fake labels on, stick it in a fake Cisco box, stick more fake labels on, and they start shipping them around the world. They will fail, they do fail, and they're quite dangerous. They're dangerous because whilst we are able to determine if they're genuine or not, they do of course carry that potential of a cybersecurity risk. We've done much analysis into it to see what we can see, but we don't get every single counterfeit product back to us to get and test. And even if we did, we wouldn't be able to test them all anyway, because there's so much out there, which is worrying, right? There is so much out there. And the potential is quite high that there could be some cybersecurity risk associated with them. And it's important as well that this isn't just switches that are counterfeited. We've got access points, the wireless access points, and we've got firewalls as well. So imagine a counterfeit firewall. I'll leave that to your own imagination. So that's why the majority of my role is to ensure the channel is clean, to make sure that the products out there are authorized, genuine products. And where we find these brokers that are selling these unauthorized, well, not so much unauthorized, but the infringing and counterfeit products, that's where we go after them and with some success and take action against them and get them shut down.
Yeah, from a reseller point of view, which is what we're a partner point of view, the partner, when they buy these, they do not know whether it's authorized. No, they do not know whether it's counterfeit, whether it's out of region, or whether it's within region. They just do not know. It's so these people sell you things and they have got no idea. Now, I'm going to have to hold my hands up here. We've been authorised for Cisco for a number of years now. Before that, and we were a small company then, and I wasn't, when we had a different directorship and everything. So this might sound really bad, and maybe I'm not doing the marketing any good of the business. But historically, and I've also held my hands up, that we have sold some of this. We probably were unaware of the risk. This was a number of years ago. But you have a look at Cisco products, as Spencer said, these things last for ages. Why they have lifetime warranties, some of these? Well, that clearly won't work for these. And so we understand it. So if you're buying it, and I can tell you how you spot it, it is simple to spot. We can spot it now, clear as day. Yeah, absolute clear as day. There's a few signs that you could absolutely say, if you go and someone says, I can get that 8% cheaper. Well, we know we're not putting 8% on it and nobody else is getting a better price than us. Yeah. We might have dual registration where we're getting better price than everybody else and we're still being beaten. We can say straight away, that's broker. Quite often, when there's CTO products, so configure to order products that go to factory, take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and actually when you put an order in, us as a business wouldn't even know, yeah, how long are they going to take until they're actually placed on manufacturer, on the HPE, on Lenovo, on Cisco. We just do not know. And so if a client says, I can get it cheaper, and our supplier that we've used for 10 years, they said they can get it on Thursday. Alarm bells just come, because you know it's broker. But to tell somebody it's broker, they said, no, we've dealt with this company for years. We know them inside out. Yeah, okay. So the next thing, if you're a customer, this is a really good thing to do. As our clients know, every single time we engage with a client now, we engage, it has been for many years, we introduce the account manager from the manufacturer. Yeah, everybody would have account managers. Yeah, so we always introduce them. It is almost then guaranteeing what you're going to get is not brokered. Yeah, because if the account manager knows a deal's going on and they don't see that coming through Cisco or HP or wherever it may be, they know it's not come through official channels. So if I was a customer, really simple, just say to your supplier, oh, can you introduce me to manufacturer account manager? If they're reticent, you walk away really, really fast. Yeah, as fast as you possibly can. Because why would they not? Surely that's a good thing. So your warranty's not great. Your security, you really haven't got a clue, especially some of this counterfeit stuff. I mean, you just think, Matthew, I'm not saying that you've got any, but you're in Malta, which saves 30% of Spencer thinks. I think the Maltese market probably at 45% of the goods that come in there. Because I talked to the manufacturers there, the reason they're not on the island, although it's a massive technology island, is very little is sold officially into Malta. So you've got to be really, really careful. And culturally, we all, but Malta especially, it's very much that price. It's very, very price driven.
Price driven, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, Peter, last week I was doing some reading and I came across this really interesting article. Everyone can look for it. It's called The Big Hack, and it is whereby the intelligence from the Eastern Asian part of the world installed a chip in motherboards, and this was sometime in 2014, 2015, and they did this predominantly because they wanted to exfiltrate data for the Western world. From the Western world, and these things obviously they're in the supply chain in China. They're being built. They added some more stuff in there, and there you go. I mean, data exfiltration at its best. So that's why it's very important. I believe that as much as possible, even for QA and all that, you need to buy from the proper channels, because at the end of the day, you are as good as your weakest link.
Yep. Absolutely. You just think about the security side. You've written massive information security management systems, yeah? Looks after the whole business, all security of it. Like the Donald Rumsfeld, these are unknown unknowns. You have no idea that you might have what you might have out there underneath the hood or bonnet, as we'd say in the UK.
Exactly, and that's why it's important, even for ISO, for example, one of the requirements is supplier management. How are you taking care of the suppliers? So suppliers can not only be suppliers which have outcomes in software development, for example, or servicing you with an application. Supplier management has also be over and above your hardware, how you're buying it. And these are, awakening times for both myself, and to our viewers here, because sometimes we do forget and we do take it for granted that, a box is a box, whether you buy it from Tom, Dick or Harry, so it's very important that we look into this as well.
One thing before I come to you, Dale, to be really clear here, I've known this industry for many, many years. There are many partners out there who will be an HPE official partner or Cisco official partner, but they sell both, authorised and unauthorised, depending on who they think the client is and depending on what they can get away with. And so just because they've got an authorised badge on their website doesn't mean what you're getting is authorised. Always ask for an introduction to the manufacturer before sale. Yeah,
that was my question to you guys, is how would we go around getting that account manager? If we know the account manager and someone's coming to us via the backdoor channel or via another channel saying that we can cut the price, say for FGS, I can cut this price half price from FGS. It's going to take you 3 weeks to come in. But we might have gone to them a couple of times, but they're selling on authorized kit to us. And every time, I don't like everybody else, we go for the 3-quote balance. The best quote wins, and it's always 9 times out of 10 it's the cheapest. That would win the deal. But how do we go back to Cisco now or to any of our vendors and say, look, is this partner officially? Is there an official channel that we can go to and say, guys, is this a known partner of yours? Does this guy have the rights to sell out of his shed?
Yeah.
Or
I will before I pass this on to Spencer, remember they can be authorised and still sell unauthorised. Yeah. So the answer to that, before I go to Spencer, and how you spot maybe what you've already got, that might be something, is just ask that partner to introduce you. You haven't got to know who your account manager is. So can you introduce me to the manufacturer account manager? Because they will know if it's authorised, because that account manager will get paid on it. Yeah. And if they don't, then walk away a million miles. Yeah. And so, but Spencer, say that someone's got. When you must have found, and you've obviously come for many years. When you find something, how far would a manufacturer look to see if there's other things, or how can you check a serial number? Because I've had clients who've had equipment, and I'm thinking, well, give it a serial number because I know that's broken. Could we come to the manufacturer? If you could explain that process, that would be great.
So I mean, I'm so glad you asked this because it saves me having to try and raise it further on in this conversation. Cisco, we do have a partner locator on Cisco.com. So if you want to check out if the reseller is authorized, jump on the Cisco partner locator, put their name in. You can filter by country, region, or just global. And if the name's there, then they are going to be a Cisco authorized partner. And as Peter said, not all partners, unfortunately, are going to do the right thing and only sell authorized. Some are there, and some are going to break the terms and conditions of their ICPA agreement, indirect channel partner agreement that they have with us. And when we do find those cases, we do take whatever necessary action against those partners, up to and including termination of that contractual agreement that we have with them. So to your point, can you check a reseller on if they're a partner? Yes, you can on Cisco.com partner locator. Do we take action against partners if we find that they're doing the wrong thing? Yes, we do. But the great part of the question there was, can you check a serial number? Yes, you can. Again, we've got a portal on the brand protection portal, and it's also there on other partner portals as well. It's all it's evolving, where anyone in the world, they can enter serial number information into the portal. All they've got to do is put the serial numbers, who they are, what the company is, etc., and then we then validate those serial numbers and then go back to the submitter and say, yes, these products are registered to you, they're authorized, or no, they're not, please give us more information. If we suspect that they potentially could be counterfeit, then we're going to ask for console readouts from the submitter, whoever put those serial numbers in, and say, look, just give us the console readouts of these as well, along with your supplier invoice, because that's how we're going to be able to determine if the product that they're submitting to us is a genuine product as well. It's important to remember that I mentioned that these serial numbers are cloned. Okay, so some people who are listening to this will have their own CCO user ID that they can go online and check the serial number, and they're going to go on and they're going to say, well, hold on, this can't be genuine because the serial number is valid. I can see the data for it. You've got to bear in mind then that if it is a counterfeit product that you have, the serial number you're checking is only giving you the data for the genuine product. The counterfeit product will not have any data. Why? Because it's a counterfeit product. It's carrying cloned information. And that's my point. That's why we may well ask for more information regarding the serial numbers that you've sent to us. But absolutely, yes, you can check serial numbers online. Yes, there is the partner locator. And yes, if we need to, we do take action against those partners that are selling unauthorized products.
So is there any chance you could send through where on the portal we could do that? We could send out to the people who are on this call?
I will be more than happy to, yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Spencer. So the thing is, this is real. This is massive. And we come across it all the time. We can see it. I mean, it's just clear as day. The difficulty you have is you're then, and we have this difficulty. People say, oh, you're only saying it because you're a competitor. It's so simple for us to see. But when we bring it up, a lot of our customers go almost offended that we're accusing them of not being smart buyers, or we're accusing their friends who they go for a drink with, who are with a partner. Can't believe you're saying that. We just asked them for the account manager for the manufacturer. Oh, well, they might not like that. Are you thinking, well, no, you've got to protect your business here and yourself. If you're then found to be somebody doing, I mean, the guy who just joined us, Stephen, he works on the Cisco side. In Malta, this is. He worked for another gaming firm, Matthew. And he used to purchase on the infrastructure side. Had no idea that this even existed. So no idea of the risks that their business might even be holding at the moment. Yeah, they could put support calls in that don't happen. The manufacturer says no. They've got security issues with physically in the product because of the counterfeiting. This is big business. This is big mafia-based business in some of it, big Chinese-based business. This is not a nice industry in that respect. So you just got to look after yourself and be clear. And just having it on your T's and C's of procurement is nowhere near enough. That might cover procurement, but it is nowhere near enough. You know,
I am also told.
Yeah,
I've been always also told that the counterfeit product could also be when you have one of these devices. Let's say you have a Cisco firewall or something, and during QA, for example, some of them get missing. Is that real? Or I mean, I read this on the internet, so I don't know, if that is true or not, Spencer.
I'm sorry, what? Repeat the question, Matthew.
Yes. So some of the devices are indeed legit, but they, during the actual deployment and all that, in the factory, some of them get missing, and then they're sold in the black market.
Right. If no, then the answer that would be no.
Okay.
Our supply chain, our manufacturing, it's very tight. If we were to find any issues like that, then we would take very quick and severe action against whoever it was that was doing that.
Yeah.
It's one of those myths, really, that the production line stays open once everyone goes home. Like the clothing factories. That isn't what is happening with the Cisco counterfeit products. Typically, because they're being remanufactured or modified post-manufacture in warehouses, and we know that because where we've done raids with the Chinese authorities, they are always remote warehouses, well outside of our manufacturing. So the answer to that would be no.
Thank you.
From what you've heard today, is there anything that surprises you? Anything you didn't know? Would you make any changes to what your organisation might do?
I think our procurement channels will definitely change.
Yes.
And thinking about the question regarding refreshes and refurbs as well, because that's always a concern to me. So we have in previous lives, I have gone out and brought refurbs and not really realised if I've got the SmartNet cover or the cover not just on Cisco gear but on IBM hardware as well. Now I had a funny feeling there was counterfeit product out there, but you've shined the light to me now, me being a bit more due diligent on the supply chain and where we're getting our gear from, especially out in the South America countries and the Asia Pacific countries, where we're looking at sending out stacks. So yeah, it's definitely opened my eyes to think about where I'm going to get this.
So you made an interesting point, though, which nearly all other companies do, particularly public sector, is you go out to tender, you get 3 quotes, and you take the lowest quote. As I said, the lowest quote, if there's a broker involved, it's going to be that broker quote, just by default. It will be, because that's their business, right? We, Cisco, we won't compete on pricing. So let's say, for example, you got a broker or 2 brokers on one partner, and the partner comes to Cisco and says, listen, you've got to help me, I'm being punished by this broker pricing. We won't compete against broker pricing because it devalues our brand, right? But the last thing we want to do is start reducing our price even more, because then it just keeps getting lower and lower, and then you're giving products away for practically nothing. But the point I want to make is that you mentioned refurb as well. Cisco have our own refurb channel. It's called Refresh. So if pricing isn't an issue, go to your Cisco partner. Peter has access to this as well, and they can get refresh pricing from disti, straight from distribution, Cisco distribution. Cisco distribution sell our own line of refresh products. So if you are price sensitive, you can always ask. We don't sell the whole product range through distribution on Refresh, but we sell typically the good bread and butter stuff that everyone wants, and that we get back. It's gone through remanufacturing. It's got all the latest iOS and BIOS on it, and it comes with, most importantly, the warranty and support that customers require. And one other thing I want to mention is, when you are going out to tender, we have some clauses. We've got some clauses that we put together that we give out, and I'll send those to you as well, Pete, and you can share those along with the partner letter and stuff, which say that they're like 6 bullet points, and they're just basic questions that we would expect the supplier to be able to answer positively, and they are: is this direct from the manufacturer? Is it going to be registered to me? Is it eligible to be sold in this territory? Is it licensed, etc., etc.? And I can't remember all 6 off the top of my head. But if the reseller then goes back,
you got 5.
Sorry,
you got 5, so you did all right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I'll remember the other one later on. But the point is, if the reseller comes back to you and says yes, then it means one or 2 things. One, they are a Cisco authorized reseller, and they are going to give you kit that's direct from Cisco distribution, registered to you, supported and warranted. The other is they're lying, and if they're going to be lying, and you later find out that the kit is dodgy, unauthorized, counterfeit, infringing, whatever, then you've got a course of action to take against them, right? Because you specifically said it in your tender document. Is this kit meeting all of these requirements? And if it isn't, then you've got some recourse. The other thing I want to mention as well is a lot of resellers, the brokers, they say in stock, next day delivery. And I think, Peter, you touched on this. We don't allow our Cisco partners to hold stock, okay? It's part of the terms and conditions. Every order that a partner places has to be backed off with the end customer that they're placing the order for. So if anyone's saying they've got stock, it's a concern if they're a Cisco partner, and we'll go and ask them some questions. But it means that kit isn't going to be authorized kit just by default. If they do physically have it in their warehouse, then it hasn't gone through the correct sales process. The other thing I suggest to do is ask them for the serial numbers. And then with those serial numbers, I'm going to share the serial number checker with you. Just stick them in there, and it will come back within usually 24, 48 hours at most. The reply will come back and say, these aren't registered to your company. And there straight away. Now, the other thing is, though, you've mentioned that there's time-sensitive equipment that's needed. Well, typically, when there's a project going, you've got at least 6-week notice that you're going to be, kitting out an office, or you've got a project and you can order in time. If there is time-sensitive stuff, we can't do anything about that. If you want it next day, and disti don't have it in stock, it's got to go through manufacturing. So if you are going to be getting this stuff next day, if it is really important, you can actually come to Cisco and ask for what we call time and materials. And what that is if you've got a network down and you need a piece of kit, call Cisco, ask for a call, can you get time and materials call? And we are able to support that. It's expensive. I mean, don't think, we're not going to give you the service for free. You're actually buying that product. But if it is one box that you need and you want to know that it's coming from the right manufacturer, we can help. If we have that excess stock in our logistics centres anywhere around the world, and we think, okay, we've got 4 in stock, we can let you have 1 and we can get it to you in 2-4 hours or next business day, we will do that to help a customer out. But so it's worth bearing that in mind as well.
Cool.
I'm going to jump back to the refurb. Pretty much all manufacturers do some sort of refurb, yeah? These are official. They are real. Quite often, they might be coming back from a lease that they've put all together and they've put their warranty back on. They've checked it all the firmware's up to date and they're happy with the QA side of it, yeah? Nothing wrong with that. Somebody at HPE, say on this example, will get paid for it. Always ask the partner, can you introduce me to that somebody from HP Refurb? Because refurb is a term that brokers use all the time. You have this refurb, you can have this pulled. And so they use these terms, and these are broker terms. And they've hijacked manufacturers' terms, refurb. Absolutely hijacked them. And so they're really simple to spot. But always, the big advice, if there's a takeaway from this, the big takeaway, how do you stop it? Work with the manufacturer. Ask the partner to introduce you to the account manager. Why wouldn't they? Where's the downside for the partner to look good and work with the manufacturer? No downside whatsoever. You might even find that if the account manager is heavily involved with the end user as well, and it's done as a team, you might even get slightly better price because they like you. That's not the way it works, but you know what I mean? They're more likely to fight internally because you're up against, I don't know, Juniper, yeah, Cisco are, and they might really fight for you because they know you. Yeah, it's just the way of the world. So why would they have not? So there's your big takeaway, how to stop it. And it is rife and it is dangerous. The security side, Matthew, you could be sitting on, I'm not saying you are, I'm not saying Betson are, but I know 3 gaming firms. One, the guy's actually listening to you on this, who's not a gaming firm anymore, they found it. They tried to put a call in with Cisco. This was Cisco as it happened. They bought it from the UK, couldn't get, Cisco said no, washed their hands of it, and rightly so. And all they did was cut that firm out of their supply chain. But they've been using this firm for 3 years. So how much of their kit in their infrastructure that runs critical information, all the wallets, everything, is counterfeit? Could be none of it, could be half of it. So as a security director, it's something to think about. How do you mitigate it? Maybe do an audit. Maybe you take out, say you've got 500 switches, 300 servers. Just take 5. Take like an auditor would. Take 5. Look at we could look at the serial number checkers. We're more than happy to do that for you. Yeah. So that you do your own audit, and you can say, I've reduced my risk because I've looked at 5 or 10, and they've all come back clean. Yeah. That's another way of looking at it. So that's post, but pre is the way to work here.
Of course.
Pre is the way to work. Forget the cost you can't forget, but if you are going to buy cheap and stuff that's going to turn up straight away, you might be putting massive risk to your business, and it costs you loads more because when it goes wrong, you're phoning up Cisco, time and materials. You have to buy it, and you're paying for that time that they're going to do when you're not supported. You're going to charge a lot. All the manufacturers are going to charge you a lot, so it could cost you. You could be paying twice for this while having real availability issues and confidentiality and integrity issues. So there we are. So,
cheap is expensive, right?
Cheap is expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think procurement here, procurement need to listen to this, and especially in the places, so many companies, the IT people do the procurement. The infrastructure people really guide the procurement. They don't even let procurement in until the last minute. You know, that upsets procurement. You know, we see it all the time. It's the way of the world. But you have to work as a team here to really save your business money and save it risk, reduce its risk. And you can mitigate that risk by purchasing properly.
And what price to pay, right? I mean, compared to the risk exposure, you know, the price is really insignificant. I mean, might as well get the proper investment, buy the proper gear, and reduce your risk and blast radius, right?
So, Peter, I've got some numbers that they're a couple of years old. In fact, these numbers I'm going to give you came from AGMA, which is the Alliance for Grey Market and Counterfeit Abatement. They're an organisation, a global organisation, all different companies, you know, IT, you know, all different companies are in there. And they get together, they meet regularly, and they talk about the threats that they see, how they deal with them, etc., etc. And some years ago, AGMA, they sort of did an analysis on how big the problem was with regards to counterfeit. And to me, this is a very, very conservative number that they issued. I think it's a lot more than they did, but they just wanted to give an impact of what they can sort of definitely say it's got to be this. And they said that the revenue lost to global IT companies by counterfeiters annually, bearing in mind it's just IT companies, this isn't your Nikes or your Primas or anything like that, this is just IT. They said is $100 billion, okay? Now that's conservative number, but here's the bigger number. And they say that the cost of IP threats to domestic companies is $250 billion. I mean, that's a huge number, right? So whilst it's 100 billion to manufacturing, it's 250 billion to companies.
Yeah, so you're saving, they're great figures, they're scary figures. You're saving 5%, well, the cost of a device in CapEx, I think it's 29% of its lifetime cost. Yeah, so you're saving 5% of 29%, you're saving 1%, yeah, of its lifetime. But the risk you're adding and the cost then you're adding is colossal. Is it worth it? So just a quick one back onto refurb. When you get refurbs, the manufacturer will invariably, typically, when they're refurbing it, getting it back into the refurb market officially, they'll change the serial number. Yeah. No. So that serial number is then as new. Is that right?
So not for Cisco. No. When we get the product back, it retains its serial number. And there's a reason for that. It retains its serial number. We call it refresh. We don't call it refurb. We want to be different. So we got.
I was talking about HPE there. I didn't mean
but it's refresh. But no, we take it back. We as I say, it goes through the manufacturing process. We wipe it clean of all data. Update, upgrade, rebox back as new. But it retains the same serial number, and it does that for reasons that I won't go into, but yes, it retains that.
Right. Okay.
It will be different order numbers and everything else. There'll be different other history that change, but the actual serial number will remain the same.
And it also would mean, I suppose, that you can go back if there'd ever been a fault with that product that had been fixed and that fault returned. You've got a bit of history on that to make it easier to maintain.
Yeah, we track serial numbers from birth to death. So, you know, we're able to track it from manufacturing all the way to the end customer. And if it ever comes back as an RMA and goes through our logistics centres, it's all tracked. So we know where our product is.
Brilliant. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much this afternoon. I think it's been really insightful, real knowledge. And I've got some top knowledge here of you three. I mean, my knowledge is limited compared with you, so I really do appreciate your time. And I really hope if this can make 2 or 3 companies sit back and think, actually, we've got to look at the way we purchase. We've got to look at the risks of the business. We want to reduce this, and so we've got to check before we buy these things. On a pre-side, we've done something really good here, and so. Thank you so much, guys. So for the people who are watching here, I'll be sending out in the next couple of days just the Cisco portal thing. I'll get the HPE one as well. You can check the serial numbers, but also just a little bit of a précis on how you check before you do it, because that's the main time to check. You don't want to catch it after 3 years. Yeah,
It's 3 years too late.
3
Yeah,
years too
already
late.
done.
Yeah. If you catch an incurable disease, you want to prevent it more than find out 3 years later you've got it. Yeah.
Indeed.
So not sure that's a good analogy, to be quite honest, especially in the current climate. But I apologise if I've offended anybody. But yeah, gentlemen. Oh, it's my wedding anniversary today, so I'll be popping out with the kids and the wife very shortly for something to eat. So
Congratulations.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
yeah, there you go. I lined that one up well, didn't I? So, yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Really do appreciate this. You can catch up with this on YouTube. We're just going to make sure we send it to the guys before we do, make sure they're happy with it and their companies are happy with it. So sometimes it can take a week or so to come on. Totally understandable. So we're legal to just check that nothing's been said, that they don't want to go out, and then we cut those bits out. So it might not go on very quickly, might take a week and sometimes 10 days. So thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening and really appreciate it. Cheers, guys.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Pete.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.